Hi. See how you draw applause, Amy? It is my pleasure today to present this Public Leadership Award to U.S. Attorney Andy Luger, especially when we are honoring the principles that animated the career of Vice President Walter Mondale. Now, at first blush, Walter Mondale and Andy Luger seem like very different fellows. The Vice President grew up in Elmore, Minnesota, the son of a small-town Methodist minister. Andy Luger is what some people would describe as a New York Jew. And I think that is why I, who so ably embodies the integration of those two worlds, was chosen to present this award to Andy. But it is altogether fitting that Andy is the recipient of this prestigious honor in this year that we honor Vice President Mondale. Walter Mondale's dad, the Methodist minister you see, taught the social gospel, that our faith requires good deeds as well as good words. And Andy, a devout and observant Jew, knows the teachings of Rabbi Hillel, who said, "It's not enough to be just, you must do justice." I first heard Hillel's words from Rabbi Max Shapiro, my rabbi at Temple Israel when I was growing up. Rabbi Shapiro's son, Stephen, told me that Senator Mondale visited Temple Israel so often that Rabbi Shapiro called him Senator Mandel. Now, as Minnesota's Attorney General from 1961 to 1960, was it 4 or 5? When did you? Fritz has forgotten. It's 4 or 5. Walter Mondale was the state's lawyer. And as United States Attorney for Minnesota, Andy Luger is the federal government's lawyer for our state. They've both had the same beat, at least the same geographical area. Minnesota has changed in the last 50 years. And Andy has had to confront some challenges here in Minnesota that are different in kind and in scale from any other which a Minnesota U.S. Attorney has had to face. I'm speaking about the recruitment of young people in our community by extremists. And Andy has tackled this head on, but with the wise, measured judgment that Walter Mondale brought to so many challenges that he faced during his career. What comes to mind is the 1964 Democratic National Convention, where a young Walter Mondale, then Attorney General, Minnesota, was thrust into a credentials fight between the all-white regular Mississippi delegation, which had excluded African Americans from its process, or its selection process, and the all-black Mississippi Freedom Democrats. Faced with an unknowable outcome where the only certainty is that almost everyone would be unhappy, Mondale engaged both parties and crafted a plan that made almost everyone unhappy. The white delegation walked out, just 3 members of the Freedom delegation were seated. But Mondale's plan changed the rules of the Democratic Party forever. Making sure that no state's process could ever discriminate in their delegate process. Andy, too, has shown courageous leadership in the way he has approached his daunting task. Andy has engaged the Somali community, which can be suspicious of law enforcement, but at the same time does not want its sons and daughters to make the kind of tragic choices that some have made. I saw a wonderful display of Andy's leadership when he brought the young Somali Minnesota community leaders to Temple Israel last Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur is the holiest of high holy days in Judaism, and after the services we had a full house at Temple and at the Temple Auditorium, in which we had a beautiful and spectacularly productive dialogue. Since then, there have been some arrests of young people heading to Syria, preventing them from joining ISIS. That provoked some anger in the community, but Andy's steady, sincere engagement with imams and with the community has enabled him and his office to maintain and continue to build relationships with Somali Minnesotans. This is leadership. I give you Andy Luger.
Thank you, Senator Franken. I guess the secret is out, I am Jewish. Thank you to the Humphrey School for this prestigious and wonderful award. Many of you know this, but I would not be standing here today if not for the tremendous support that I have received for 29 years from my amazing wife, Ellen Goldberg Luger. Okay, so that's more applause than I got. With us tonight are my and Ellen's extended family, who mean so much to us. And I'm particularly honored tonight that my mother, Gloria Luger, flew all the way in from Florida just to be here to honor me and support me, and probably to hear Vice President Mondale. Thank you. Throughout my personal and professional life, I have worked to pursue justice and fairness in our political, legal, and civic institutions. For 18 years, my colleagues at the law firm of Green Espel, who are here tonight in the back, supported and encouraged that work, and I thank them for that time. 16 months ago, after the recommendation of Senator Klobuchar and Senator Franken, I was sworn in as United States Attorney for Minnesota. I now work for the only department in the federal government that is named for an aspiration, the Department of Justice. It is something that not only I, but all of the lawyers who work in the United States Attorney's Office think about every morning as we go to work. For me, justice demands that everyone who interacts with our criminal justice system is treated with fairness, dignity, and respect. Victims, defendants, witnesses, and their families are all entitled to and deserve a justice system that is decisive, compassionate, and even-handed. Justice also demands that our system carefully balance the need for public safety with the critical importance of protecting civil rights and civil liberties. As if this was not difficult enough for those of us in the U.S. Attorney's Office, all Minnesotans today face a profoundly troubling issue: the advent of sophisticated terror recruiting in Minnesota from overseas presents our state with extraordinary challenges to our social fabric and our criminal justice system. And we must meet these challenges head on. The terrorists are focusing their recruiting efforts on the Somali community in our state. And this deeply patriotic immigrant community needs our respect and our help as we work together to put an end to terror recruiting. Our good friends in the Somali community who are here with us tonight are working hard to build community resilience against this recruiting effort. and we must support their efforts. Indeed, working with the Somali community to stamp out terror recruiting is my top priority as your United States Attorney. And my dream is that someday I'll be back here, perhaps introducing another worthy recipient, and we can talk about a time when no one is recruited to join a terrorist overseas. I am so honored to receive this award tonight on a night celebrating one of my heroes, Walter Mondale. Vice President Mondale is an inspiration to me as I grapple with the difficult issues in our criminal justice system. Mr. Vice President, thank you for your friendship and your guidance. Dean Schwartz, family, and friends, I pledge to you to do my best in the coming years to live up to this award tonight. Thank you.